Hey y'all, happy Friday. I'm so glad to be talking to y'all. Welcome back to another What Else is Going On YouTube video, aka WEIGO podcast. The podcast, the audio version, you can find wherever it is you listen to your podcast, whatever app you listen to, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, all of that good stuff. Y'all should go check it out and check out some of the backlog. There is a 2-year history of different interviews and just episodes and all of that good stuff. I missed y'all so much. I'm glad to be back talking to y'all. I said, let me get off the road and come take a break and do a video. I was like, oh, should I really be? Yes, I should, because what is the word for June? Consistency. And I think I'm going to roll that into July. For those of y'all that are new, here, welcome. For those of y'all that aren't, welcome. I love y'all so much. Thank you so much for your support. I don't take it lightly at all. In the beginning of June, or either the end of May, I talked about if my word for the month of June was consistency. I didn't do a word for the year because for me, I had to learn my personality isn't all or nothing. Like, get rid of all of this and only eat this, or uh, only eat fruits and vegetables for 3 days when I've been slacking on them. It's like, okay, for me, I'm more successful if I say my goal, my commitment to myself is to eat at least 2 pieces of fruit every single day, or even 1 piece of fruit. I'm not saying cut anything out, but I'm saying let's focus on incorporating good habits. Habits take time to build. So I do things slowly like that. I've learned that that works better for me to be able to be consistent and continue it long term. So my word for June versus the entire year was consistency with my exercise and also with content, like with the podcast, with YouTube, because before I was doing YouTube consistently, my podcast episodes twice a week, Tuesday, Friday. I had took some time off last year. I believe it was either 2022. I took some months off. Um, and I was still trying to recover from those months off because, sometimes it's like, well, you ain't been here. But so I had got like back on track with that. Then I added in YouTube and I was like, there's no more. I need to get it together. I need to do this. I need to do that. Do it. And if you fall off, hey, y'all, sorry, I'm back. Let's get into it. You can't keep beating yourself up over it, but also you can't keep excusing it either. I know life is busy, life's going on. Don't beat yourself over it. Yeah, don't beat yourself up over it, but do hold yourself accountable to what you say you're going to do for yourself, not for anybody else. And that's another thing I had always struggled with, being accountable to me. I would show up for other people if it involved me, like, oh, we're going to run today, or we're running 4 times this week. Got it. Because I don't want them to be let down. But what about letting my own expectations down? So that's what I'm doing now. I'm being accountable to me first. So I encourage y'all to do the same. So my word for June was consistency. I'm rolling it over into July, and it's consistency still in the exercise and in content, creating content. I'm going to get more specific. I used to be like really going at it years past in the gym, like with my arms. And then I'm doing very well in June, but I have to get back to that mindset. Like my arms, I have to look at it like I get to define and decide what my arms are going to look like versus, it's arm day, right? So I need to do that. So for the month of July, the focus is my arms. Everything else, of course, too, like my behind and all that stuff, because it was on my neck like up until last year. And I'm like, where? I know it ain't down there. What happened? The pounds took the behind, and that never happens. But so, but my focus for exercises for July, arms. Okay. So I just wanted to share that with y'all. Y'all let me know. For those of you that picked the word for June, are you picking a word for July? Are you keeping your same word? And how has your progress been with the word, with the accountability to yourself? Let me know that. All right, y'all, this is going to be now a quick video. I just want to talk about a couple Housewives things, and I'm going to come back later because I want to talk about Rachel Lindsay, Wendy Williams, and some other stuff. But for right now, I just wanted to get into some Bravo Housewives news. First up, let's talk about Roni. So we know that Roni had the reboot last year. Some people didn't like it. Some people did. I didn't mind it. I actually liked it. I was okay with it. I know people wanted them to stop arguing about stupid things or about the cheese or this or that. It didn't bother me. It was something different than what we have gotten out of the other franchises. I think a lot of people were in the back of their minds still comparing it to the old days of Roni, and they are no more. So I enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to this season coming back. Well, now we got some news from Deadline. Bravo's The Real Housewives of New York City adds Raquel Chevrolet to season 15 cast. Let me show y'all her picture. Y'all, they have changed. Hold on a minute. I'm not going to get an attitude. They have changed my Zoom around. Where things used to be, they are not anymore. See, this is good. All right. Hold on a sec. Share the screen. I don't think it's doing it. And it's annoying me. Hold on. Because I want y'all to see the woman I'm talking about. I don't know. For all I know, y'all could be looking at everything on this screen right now. I don't know. I don't know what is happening. Hold on. Okay. All right, chat. I don't know. Something's going on. I'm not going to have y'all on here trying to figure it out. It's annoying. I will have to figure it out because I was going to share something else earlier. But anyway, there's going to be a new housewife added to the cast of Roni for season 15. Raquel Chevrolet is joining the Real Housewives of New York City season 15 as a full-time cast member. The model and art curator joins fellow openly queer Jenna Lyons, as well as Sai De Silva, Uba Hassan, Eric Lichi, Jessel Tank, and Bryn Whitfield. It's exciting, Chevrolet told GLAAD about joining Roni. I honestly didn't think they would be interested in me in the end because they already had a queer woman. I wasn't sure if they were going to want two queer women on a franchise that has historically been about married heterosexual women. I think it was a bold decision and honestly a more authentic representation of NYC. Chevrolet said the decision to join the Bravo reality series was made in conjunction with her family, adding, "My entire adult life has been about representation and using whatever platform I have to get the voices of queer folks, of the diaspora out there. What better way to do so? What better way to do so if not as a member of this iconic franchise?" She noted that it's important to her to show people a loving, fun family along with our chosen family, and having a platform like Roni will give visibility to the queer community. In the current world climate, it's important for not only our community to see themselves represented, but for the world to get to know a queer family in a more intimate way and show that we all have more similarities than not, that queer women can be successful, beautiful, and in loving relationships, raising children too, that this world exists. So, Rachel, welcome. Looking forward to seeing you, your family, partner, children. You know what? I don't even know if she has children. I'm just taking that by what she's saying here or what have you. So, yeah, we are getting a new housewife. So, congratulations to her. I'm ready for the season to start. I'm wondering when it's going to start. Moving along. Speaking of New York, let's talk about New York. Did y'all watch the old New York? And if not, or did y'all watch the old New York, but maybe not the beginning of the New York? Either way, y'all know who Kelly Bensimon is, the one that used to jog through the streets of New York. She was a Real Housewife of New York City. Child, Miss Kelly was supposed to get married. She was Scary Island, Kelly. Go to sleep. Anyway, Kelly Bensimon, y'all, called off her wedding 4 days before it was supposed to happen. Kelly Bensimon has revealed why she called off her wedding to her husband-to-be, Scott Littner, 4 days before they were supposed to get married. The Real Housewives of New York City alum was supposed to get married on Saturday, this Saturday, June 29th, in Boston, Massachusetts. He thought that I would enter this union without legal protections in place, that I would leave everything to faith. But I've worked really, really hard as a single mother and have always made smart decisions for myself and my family, and that will continue, Kelly told ET. Her rep told the publication she's disappointed as she was looking forward to an exciting new chapter in her life together with Scott. Apparently, he wouldn't sign a prenuptial agreement. If you don't know, a prenup is a legally binding contract signed by a couple before marriage, specifying how their assets, debts, and spousal support will be handled in the event of divorce or death. It aims to protect each party's individual financial interests and outline the terms of property division and alimony. She added, "It was a rough day for me, but I could never start a life together under those circumstances." Then she said, "I wish him well." Because I was thinking, okay, so wait a minute. Maybe this happened. They're going to talk about it and end up getting married at a later date, right? She said, "I wish him well. So long, farewell. I do to you and you and you and you and you." Like, it's a wrap for her. She's smart. Because I wonder why he doesn't want to sign one, is my question. And I shouldn't say normally, but for the most part, we automatically think of women not wanting to sign the prenup, you know what I mean? Or not having to sign the prenup, or saying, hey, look, I'm doing all this, putting aside things, working for you, what have you. Like, meaning helping build your whatever, or I know what you're marrying me for. So I'm either not going to sign, or I'm going to need a little bit more. We're going to need to go through the fine points of this prenup. I also wonder when this conversation took place. Y'all have been together. He proposed. You planned a wedding. 4 days before, it's called off because he won't sign it. So I'm wondering, did they have the conversation maybe a lot of times before, and she thought maybe he would change his mind? Like, the more you're into it, who wants to turn around and cancel a wedding at the last minute? You should, if something ain't right, or if it don't feel right, or if you just don't want to. I'm not talking about cold feet like nervousness. I'm talking about you realize this is not my person. I don't want to do this. Pull the plug. I don't care if it's an hour before. Pull the plug. But I'm wondering, did they have a conversation about this prenup before for you to go all the way here? Because I would like to think that they wouldn't have gone through an engagement, wedding planning, and then 4 days before the wedding, you're like, by the way, I want you to sign a prenup. So if let's assume they had this conversation before. I wonder, like, why she kept pressing on. Did she think the deeper they got into it that he would just sign it, like Kandi and Todd? And when did Todd sign it? What, the morning of, or a couple of days before, or something like that? Can't remember specifically, but wasn't it like the morning of or something? Either way, that's crazy. But Kelly, kudos to you for doing what you felt you needed to do to protect you and your what you've worked for and your family. But she said, "I wish him well." So to me, that means they are done. They're done. They are done. Let's talk about New Jersey real quick. Let's talk about Teresa. Teresa Giudice blames RHONJ producers for triggering government investigation after that infamous scene showed her paying $120K in cash for furniture. Teresa Giudice claimed the federal government targeted her after RHONJ producers orchestrated a scene in which she paid $120,000 in cash for furniture. The 52-year-old reality star made the claim on Wednesday's episode of her podcast, Turning the Tables with Teresa Giudice, while reminiscing about the early seasons of The Real Housewives of New Jersey with former co-stars Jacqueline Larita and Kim D. They discussed the season 1 furniture buying scene and revealed that producers set it up, according to an article on Thursday by People. "I even think that's why the government came after us," Teresa claimed, referencing federal fraud charges brought against her and ex-husband, Joe Giudice, in a 2013 indictment. She noted how producers of the Bravo show said it would be cool if the payment was made in cash. "I had 200 on me. Jacqueline had 300 on her. And then somebody gave you a bunch of whatever mixed in, so it looked like a lot." Teresa continued, "When I went to that furniture store, I think it was season 1, right? They showed me how much my furniture was, like 140,000 or whatever it was. And then I'm here, I'm giving out 100 bills like I was counting out $100 bills. And then they showed the calculator. It looked like I had all that money in cash on me. Jacqueline explained that producers created a storyline out of their real lives. What people don't realize, the show's not scripted, but it is produced. There are producers. They move the show along and they make certain things happen that are being talked about and moving things along. Things that are being talked about outside the show, if it's public, they talk about it in the show. Like if it's a produced show, but it's not like it's a produced show, but it's not scripted. It is your life, but it's also produced. Now, here's my thing. Whether she's right or not, whether that triggered the IRS to look into whomever, they were still going to buy the furniture, right? What I'm getting from this is it wasn't actually like they weren't given really cash. Like she didn't really have 120,000 in cash that she was giving them. They made it look like it. But at the end of the day, she was going to get the furniture, right? Because it says, she said, she noted how the producers of the Bravo show said it would be cool if the payment was made in cash. So she was already going to get the furniture. So I guess maybe a cash, I guess, could be like a red flag. But if you're paying 120,000, I don't know, whatever. She might be right. But it's funny because she's blamed Caroline Manzo all this time, saying that Caroline was a rat, that it was Caroline. First, she thought it might have been Jacqueline. And then now she had blamed Caroline. So now are we off of that? And now it's the producers who triggered the investigation by them coming up with this scheme that Todd set up to come to us with the BS. Like, I don't know. It's always somebody else. It's never Teresa. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about some Atlanta. We're going to end with Atlanta. First up, let's talk about Radar Online's favorite couple, Porsha and Simon. Porsha Williams, ex Simon Guobadia, demands RHOA star completes deposition before July 4 holiday as divorce drama heats up. Simon wants his prenup dispute handled sooner rather than later. He submitted new court docs demanding out-of-court oral testimony of his estranged wife, Porsha Williams, as their divorce drama continues to boil over. RadarOnline.com can report the deposition will be held before a person duly authorized by law to administer oaths and take depositions, according to the latest filing obtained by RadarOnline.com. Can I go online and get certified like how you can do to marry people in like 20 minutes? Because I would love to be the one that she had to sit in front of. I mean, that she sat in front of while I did the deposition. Simon also provided a date demanding that Porsha's deposition take place on Wednesday, July 3rd at 10 a.m. It was noted that this will be for the preservation of evidence, discovery purposes, and any and all uses allowed by law. RadarOnline.com told you first that Simon wants the Bravo celebrity found in contempt of court after she allegedly, willfully, and intentionally violated an order to produce her financial records as the two duke it out over the validity of their prenuptial agreement. Among the documents he wants produced are any and all records of bank checking and or savings accounts, including credit unions maintained by Porsha from January 2022 until now. This outlet can exclusively reveal. Simon also asked Porsha to produce her monthly account transactions, all loan applications associated with the reality star, or any of her businesses from that time frame, in addition to employment information from her employers, as well as recent income tax filings. Plus, Simon demanded a copy of any recordings, video, audio that she may have in her possession or control of the marital residence, which has been a source of contention for the exes. Simon said, I'm ready for this deposition. I want her to sit for the deposition before July 4th. So how about I just give y'all a date to give her Wednesday, July 3rd at 10 a.m. Simon is not playing with Porsha. If we see her rocking that pixie cut more often, it's because he didn't snatched all them go naked wigs, honey. Simon is not playing. Speaking of not playing about her friends, let's talk about Miss Kandi Burruss. Yeah, I'm really trying to figure out. I'm so annoyed right now. I'm gonna have to figure it out how to do it in this new thing that they have going on. I was really trying to figure out how to share the screen, but clearly it's something I'm missing. But I'm sure y'all have seen it. But let's talk about uh Kandi and Kandi. Let me just so I can read it. Kandi speaking on Kenya's departure because she did a video. She is really riding for her. They really are friends, like for real. So I'm just going to read it to you now since I can't figure this out. Always changing stuff. So she said, unfortunately, my girl Kenya was a part of this season and there was an incident that happened. I wasn't there. I can't give you details of what happened, but it makes me sad. I'm not lying about how I feel because she is my friend. I do love her. I do not know the other young lady, so it's not a diss to her. Burruss, who chose not to return for season 16, admitted that more goes far sometimes, but noted that it is an important role to play in RHOA to keep people honest. She said she has never known more to make up anything about anybody. When you join a reality show, unfortunately, people are able to pull up things that you've done and share them. And that's not to say it's always a nice thing to do or a cool thing to do, but it happens. I just hate how because of this situation, they've decided to part ways. I just felt like, oh, dang, there wasn't anything else they could do. Reflecting on her time on the hit reality series, the songwriter said Moore has always been a pivotal part of the cast. She confessed that she doesn't know what to expect now that Moore won't be returning. I don't care who disagrees. I feel like it's the end of an era. It doesn't matter if you didn't like her or whatever. You're always going to need somebody who doesn't mind being real and keeping it 100 on camera, pushing the story, meaning bringing up things that other people are trying to avoid. Moore always brought up hard conversations, which Burr said was what helped the show go on. Without someone like that, she said everybody is just going to be talking about what's cool for them. I think she was one of those people who made sure people spoke about what they had to speak about. So now that she's gone, I just want to see how it's going to work. She said, we're going to miss you, Kenya, before joking, well, I ain't going to miss you. I'm still going to see you. We're going to have fun. I mean, it's her friend, and she is speaking out, which I'm sure everybody would want a friend like that. I'm thinking, or what have you. What do y'all think about Kandi speaking out? First, she spoke out about the suspension, and now she's speaking out about this. Something I want to get into. I said, honey, 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 the girls that report the news, that break the news, that give us exclusives are fighting. So we know it came out that Kenya was fired. B. Scott, who was once upon a time. I'm saying once upon a time because I'm not sure. I shouldn't even say once upon a time. Let's just, we know that there was a point in time, not saying they're still not, don't see how they could be, that B. Scott and Kenya were very, very, very good friends. When I used to listen to B's podcast, B said that they were the ones that told Kenya to bring the scepter to the reunion that season. He said he didn't tell her to point. They said they didn't tell her to point it, but they're the ones that told her to bring the prop. So we have you to thank for those shenanigans. But anyway, B. Scott had reported that Kenya was fired, had it in all caps. Now, I'm before I go any further, I'm going to say this. I remember years ago discovering B. Scott before the pandemic and finding the podcast and realizing that they talked a lot of exclusives on Atlanta. I apologize. B refers to the pronouns they, them. So if I say he, that is clearly by accident. It's not. I'm loving B's short blonde dude, by the way. I love their hair. So I remember finding B's podcast, listening to B in Denver, and some of the things that they had, I went back and listened to their old episodes and where they were breaking exclusives about Atlanta and matched it up to the time frames of when stuff came out. And I was like, wow, B hasn't missed. B has been on the money. And I remember B saying before, Kenya was not their only source. They had other sources and production and just different places and things. And so I tend to believe B's exclusive when it comes to Atlanta. I'm gonna keep saying it because it wasn't until, let's be clear, the white outlets picked it up that people really talked about it. The Bolo situation. B's outlet broke it first and knew everything that happened. Knew about the camera catching catching them, all that. B broke the exclusive about Fallon being pregnant and with Jalen. B had it first. I remember I told somebody that had a relationship with Fallon about it. I sent the clip to them. They reached out to Fallon and Fallon emailed them back the typical, no, I'm not pregnant, nor am I dating, but if anything changes, I'll let you know. I didn't believe. So when they told me, I just said, oh, okay. I didn't believe it. I believed B because one of B's old co-hosts had actually been on vacation in Mexico with Fallon and Jalen. And she came back and I spilled the beans. So I believe B has pretty good inroads. Also, I know that people may have their thoughts and feelings about her, but I keep going back to Michelle A.T. Elliott. And I say it because when I watch her and I've watched her in the past and currently, and she has given exclusive, and then down the road, it comes to find out that it's true, or it's proven that it was true. And I know that we as Black folks sometimes have a tendency to be like, Black media needs to be given chances, needs to be in these rooms, need to be in these spaces. But then we don't believe it until a white media outlet confirms it. And a lot of times these white outlets, Page Six, Radar Online, they're getting their stuff from a Michelle A.T. Elliott and from a B. Scott. I remember Page Six reported on the Bolo Gate, and I was like, B broke that like a week or so ago. You took it straight from their headline. But anyway, so I tend to believe B when it comes particularly to Atlanta. But let's get into Child A is online just tapping each other. So B comes out, says Kenya was fired, right? The Jasmine brand comes out yesterday and says exclusive, Kenya Moore was not, in caps, okay, not fired or suspended from RHOA, allegedly leftover handling of threats from newcomer Britt Eady. Kenya Moore's departure from the Real Housewives of Atlanta has stirred up new details the Jasmine brand has exclusively learned. Sources close to production tell us that the incident involving newcomer Brittany Eady was pivotal in Kenya Moore leaving the franchise. During her filmed Hair Spa grand opening, Kenya allegedly had an altercation with Brittany, who was accused of making threats involving a firearm earlier in filming. In return, Moore is accused of showing poster-sized explicit images of Brittany Eady at the event. These claims have not been confirmed. Moore's departure allegedly stemmed from her dissatisfaction with how production handled the situation, insiders tell us. Contrary to earlier reports of her firing, Moore was not officially terminated following her reported suspension. Instead, sources indicate she chose to step away from the show due to disagreements with production over the alleged threats and safety concerns involving Eady. And then it says, let's see, Kenya took to Instagram to seemingly address her exit. And this is what she said: so many false claims hiding behind anonymous sources, all this conversation and no facts being reported. If a claim or source was valid, would they need to hide? My life is blessed. Myself and my daughter will continue to thrive in a non-toxic environment where we feel appreciated and, most importantly, protected. Thank you, God, for covering us. The rumors and narrative about me randomly showing nudes or revenge P is 100,000% untrue. I have proof and will soon share. Here's my thing. When she talks about a toxic work environment, when she talks about, her and her daughter will continue to thrive in a non-toxic work environment. The work environment, clearly we watched Housewives, so we know it can be toxic. You're not innocent of contributing to that toxicity. It hasn't all been you. It hasn't all been just one person. At some point, all of y'all have contributed to the toxicity of the work environment. But I am glad that she feels good about being out of a toxic situation per her statement. Then she says the rumors and narrative about me randomly showing nudes or revenge P is 100,000% untrue. Again, I pay attention to wording. She's never said I did not show Britney's nudes, right? She said she hasn't participated in revenge porn. Now she's saying the rumors and narrative about me randomly showing nudes. Well, it's not random. If you set it up, if you printed them out, put them on a poster board and put them up, if what's being alleged is true. We do know there was poster board there because we saw the first poster board that said insurance fraud hoe, but then there was a poster board behind it with what looked like a picture, but you couldn't tell what it was. You could just see clearly it was an image of some sort. So I believe Kenya is doing word games again. She's never come out and said, look, this was my event. Why would I do that? I never put up a poster board of naked pictures of Britney. That would shut it down. I also find it interesting that people, when Brit spoke out and said, thank you to everybody who reached out for that awful thing, and I'm paraphrasing, awful thing that happened at the event, Britney was there. So her saying for that thing that happened at that event, and then her putting the revenge porn law up, lets us know that there was a nude picture shown because Brit was there. Because people were saying Brit wasn't there. She was there. So that lets me know that something was shown. Brit said she never threatened Kenya with a pow pow. So it's interesting that people are now saying Kenya did it because of what Britney said, and Britney's not been given the benefit of the doubt, when sources, in quotes, have come out and said that Britney never said that. These same sources, in quotes, are now coming out and allegedly saying that Kenya wasn't fired, but people want to believe those. You know what I mean? It's like people believe the source they want to believe, and all of us have been guilty of it when it fits or supports the person they want to support. It's that simple. That's life. So I tweeted yesterday, credible sources have said Britney was fired. Credible sources have said Kenya was fired. Credible sources have said Kenya walked away. What we do know to be fact is that she is not going to be a part of this season. People debating the hows and the why. It just depends on what side you fall on with Kenya is what you're going to believe. B. Scott came back out, honey, and said, as somebody put in a comment, B. Scott came out and said, not today. After the Jasmine brand came out and said she wasn't fired, B. Scott came back out and said, exclusive, Kenya Moore was, because remember, Jasmine brand was saying that Kenya wasn't suspended nor fired. Exclusive, Kenya Moore was suspended, then fired after investigation determined she violated the code of conduct. And side note, it is interesting that the Jasmine brand is coming out and saying that, and I'm not saying like the folks at Jasmine brand, I'm just saying it's interesting that the story, not even the Jasmine brand, because they got it from somewhere, that the story coming out now is, oh, Kenya left because Britney threatened her and she didn't like the way they handled it. So B says, Kenya Moore's time with the Real Housewives of Atlanta has come to an end after she was briefly suspended, then fired. We previously reported that Kenya was fired and the door for her future return was closed. And now we're back to clarify exactly what led to that decision. We'll start with the GUN threat allegation. Sources close to the situation to us that Kenya did raise claims of an alleged GUN threat made by newbie Brittany Eady before her hair spa event, but production investigated and couldn't substantiate the claims. There was no indication of Kenya's refusing to film or taking some time off. In fact, our sources say she continued to plan her hair spa event with no added precautions or additional concerns for her safety. Part of that planning included blowing up sexually compromising photos of Britney to display for attendees. It was clear Kenya went through great lengths to antagonize her, another source tells us. Those photos aren't easily accessible on the internet, otherwise they'd be circulating right now. She not only got the photos from somewhere, but she also got posters made. That's not something you would do to someone who allegedly threatened you with a GUN. The source continues, everyone, especially production, was shocked that Kenya would do this in front of a room full of people. It's no secret that Bravo, NBC, Universal has been under fire for recent months, facing allegations of allowing misconduct. After Kenya's stunt, she was suspended from further filming while production determined whether or not her actions were in violation of her contract. As it turns out, production found that Kenya's actions violated their code of conduct clause and ultimately decided she won't be coming back. Bravo never accused Kenya of revenge P. That was never what the investigation was about, a third source close to production tells lovebscott.com. It was about determining if Kenya's actions involving sexually explicit images violated the code of conduct, and they did. She can point fingers all she wants, but she has nobody to blame but herself. While outside sources say Kenya's considering legal actions, we're told neither production nor the network are concerned because no one decided to show those images but her. Production is now trying to figure out where to go and whether or not Kenya's previously filmed scenes will be included in the season at all. We're told Kenya's episodes leading up to the event could still air, but the event footage is more than likely to be scrapped. There's a lot of chatter around whether or not Kenya's been fired, and she has. Her time with the network is done, and the decision was made for her. In the words of Shannon Medore when Heather kicked her out. Child, it's a lot. It's a lot going on. I know, Kenya keeps saying, I'll be vindicated. I'm wondering when she said that in her statement, random, she didn't go around showing random nudes or revenge P, and she has proof. I wonder if that proof is because people are saying they think production knew, like Mariah from Married to Medicine was doing a podcast with Buffy, and she said she believed production knew. And other people have said, in their opinion, they believe production knew too. So I wonder if Kenya is implicating production in it or will be. I don't know. I will say this, though. It wouldn't take much for Kenya to clear her name. So I'm wondering why she won't unless she's going the legal route. I don't know. It is interesting, though. B does raise a good point. If Britney threatened you with a pow pow, you still then went ahead and planned your spa event without thought to security or her coming, or you know what I mean? Like, no concerns were raised then. That's what they're saying. So who knows? All I know is it's getting messy, and child, the folks out there that's reporting the news, that's breaking the exclusive, is like, no. What do y'all think? Do y'all think that Kenya was fired, suspended, her contract not renewed? Because you could say it that way too, like, or contract terminated. What do y'all think? Or do y'all not care? And are you looking forward to still watching Atlanta? I'm still going to watch. Atlanta has always had my heart, and I'm not going to turn my back on. If I didn't stop when Nene left, I'm for sure not going to stop with Kenya leaving. Again, she is legacy and part of an era, and nobody can take that away from her. There are consequences to actions, though. I'll just say that. And I go on record as saying I believe that something happened and for an investigation to be had. If there were, like, they didn't do an investigation because she called her an insurance fraud hoe. Come on. People want so badly to not believe it. And I said it would be interesting to see that if Porsha was in this situation, and let's say her and Kenya had got into it, and she allegedly showed nudes of Kenya, what would be the response then? Or if it was Porsha and Britt Edie, if it was Porsha and Kenya's situation right now, would people be saying she needs to be held accountable? Because in the beginning, when people didn't necessarily believe there could be any truth to it, people were like, Kenya, that's my boo, that's my girl, that's who I ride for, what have you, which we all have our favorites, right? But they were like, if a lot of people, I've seen it online, tweeted, Instagram, all that stuff saying, that's my girl. But if she did this, I'm disgusted. And now when evidence is coming out that it could look like, and sources that she did, it's we don't know if she did, or they're lying because she said she didn't do it. When again, she never said she never said, I did not show Brittany Edie performing fellatio on a poster board side. She didn't say that. She said she didn't participate in Revenge P. And then in this statement, she said, I didn't participate in randomly showing nudes or Revenge P. She still has not just come out and said, I never did that to Brittany. Again, Brittany, when I think back, Brittany was at the event. So Brittany's first statement regarding it was, thank you to everybody for reaching out. Let me see if I can, because I want to see her exact statement. Let me see. Brittany Edie. Her statement was, I can't even see. Hold on. I'm like, these little words. All right. No, I don't need to see that. Hold on. Let me go back and find it. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? I might not be able to find it, but oh, here it is. I found it. Britt said, thank you to everyone who has reached out to me about what took place at the event yesterday. I'm still processing the nasty, low, disgusting, vile things that was done to try to hurt me. She was there at the event. She was there. So to me, her statement is confirming something happened. We just don't know exactly what. And I'm gonna be honest, I tweeted about this too. I've seen people saying, why haven't the photos that were allegedly shown been put out on the internet by somebody at the event? Like, why hasn't somebody who was at the event with their camera phone or whatever put out the footage? And I said, because that would be crazy and stupid. Think about it. If we were at Kenya's hair spa event and we recorded it, and then these alleged pictures are shown, we're not coming down to the internet just to prove a point that Kenya did it and put ourselves in a potential bad situation by redistributing that image. That would be a fool. There's no way. And even if, because imagine you doing that, and then Britt coming back being like, oh, I'm gonna contact my lawyer, whether it goes anywhere or not, I still don't want my name in any of it. And folks are crazy. You beat and reposted. This is what took place at Kenya's spa grand opening. This is the image she showed. Next thing you know, child, the internet then turned on you, then found your job, your kids, your blood type, what your favorite food is, what your grandmama's favorite color was, all the patches of your family quilt that you got together, then got you fired. Like, absolutely not. I would not want to get myself involved in that. If I had something like that in my phone, it would just be in my phone, and probably it would be deleted by now. Goodbye. So I definitely wouldn't do it either. So I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot surrounding Sweet 16. Atlanta, y'all better come with something this season. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Where are y'all at in all of this? Where do you stand? How do you feel? What do you think about all of this? Have you changed your mind? Have you gone from Kenya, you think she did, to she didn't, to you're still confused as ever because so many people are saying so much? Y'all let me know what y'all think. Also, let me know what y'all think about Teresa now blaming production for triggering the IRS to basically audit. Let me know what y'all think about Kelly Bensimon from New York calling off her wedding just days before because he would not sign a prenup, and the new housewife that'll be added to the Real Housewives of New York. And are you looking forward to the new season of New York? If you didn't watch last season, do you plan on watching this season? Because it's still kind of fresh. New meaning, time for you to get to know the folks that we're watching. Y'all, I love y'all. I will be back later. I'll talk to you later. See ya.